Okay, Star Wars Phantom Menace 3-pack. This was the GameStop exclusive. It is the only reason I bought something from GameStop, and I needed this. That's the only way I can explain it. I needed this. This, right here, I wanted this figure. Qui-Gon is my favorite Jedi in all of Star Wars. He is the thing that makes the most sense to me when it comes to being a Jedi. He feels the most real. Of any other one that's ever been shown to us, some seem oddly arrogant. Some seem like they do their own thing and not necessarily follow the will of the Force. Some refuse to accept their fate. Some step outside of the order and constantly make decisions that don't make any sense, like when the Jedi went out of their way to become soldiers and generals when they were never meant to be that in the first place. And for what it's worth, I actually think that Qui-Gon is the deciding factor in the way that the universe shapes out. Because I am of the mindset, like a lot of other people, that Qui-Gon, had he trained Anakin, a lot of it either would never have happened that way or would never have happened at all. Qui-Gon could have acted as a father figure to Anakin and would have had a lot more compassion for the types of things that Anakin was going through, such as the dreams about his mother and so on and so forth. And Qui-Gon would have been a lot more hands-on in the actual training of Anakin over time. Because let us get something straight about this guy right here. The way that he viewed Anakin was, he heard that there was this kid that had a ridiculous connection to the Force. He looked at that blood sample. He said, well, that's crazy. The readings are off the chart. Even Master Yoda doesn't have a midichlorian count this high. And that's immediately followed by, nothing does. Like, this doesn't even begin to make sense. Nothing does. This is something straight out of legend. We have walked into something straight out of legend. And Qui-Gon, being the kind of person he is, he says, absolutely nothing happens without reason. I'm not here by accident. Our meeting is not by accident. There is a reason that the Force has put me here. There's a reason that these situations took place, that we are on this planet, that I cannot deal with the traitors here, and this kid just happens to be here, and he's my only ticket. Which means that I can go against that and be arrogant like so many of the other Jedi that we watch in terms of the series, or I can accept that this is the path that I am currently walking for some reason, and I can do what the Force is telling me to do. Obi-Wan, hearing that this kid is going to come onto the ship, his response is, why do I feel like we've picked up another pathetic life form? He doesn't like that kid. He has zero interest in that kid. He also agrees with the council that that kid is dangerous. Is he right? One could argue. But one could also argue that in the hands of Qui-Gon, no, he was not dangerous. And one could also argue that had the council got off its high horse and realized that Qui-Gon was right, Qui-Gon says, my only conclusion is that it must be a Sith Lord. And they're like, a Sith Lord? No, that's impossible because they haven't been around for like thousands of years, and Mace Windu, the most arrogant of said Jedi, basically immediately goes, I don't think they could return without us knowing about it. I'm too great for something like that to have happened. And the decision is made. You guys go back and do a thingy thing. Had they addressed this as an actual problem and knowing that there is this possible Sith trained in Jedi arts who is currently hunting down Jedi, and specifically seems interested in this kid or this girl. We don't know. He could easily be after the princess, but he attacked us while we were traveling with the kid. So we could also assume that maybe he's after that kid. We don't know what this guy wants, and we know that this kid is very bizarre, and he has all this power, and something is weird. At this point, had the council taken it seriously and sent even one more Jedi with them, just to be safe, because something is seriously amiss, Qui-Gon wouldn't have died. Everything would have been different. Anakin needed a father. He needed somebody that could look after him, train him, teach him, and help him develop. Obi-Wan is more like a reluctant brother forced to raise a sibling who he never was prepared to do so. But he made a promise, and now he's going to follow it through. I wanted this figure. I looked everywhere. He was either overpriced or he looked weird. Like, he just didn't look right. Something was weird about every single time that I found one. I didn't like it, or it was on the wrong scale. Well, finally, GameStop releases a 3-pack. And supposedly they've redone the faces. I think there are minor changes to these figures. I don't know exactly what those changes are. I don't follow the line enough to know 100% as to what is going on, like what exactly is new. Only that the faces, I believe the portraits are new. And I think parts of the body might be relatively new, but I'm not going to make a promise on that one way or another. I'm just going to say that that's the way I understand it. I think the Darth Maul is fairly new. Regardless, let's open it. Let's see these guys, cause like that's what we're here to do. Oh, wow. Ugh. Yep, still muted. Wonderful. Okay, so let's try that again. Lightsabers, they're not blowing our minds. They're very much what we expected, but what I didn't expect, I thought we would get the lightsaber and we would get a hilt. We didn't. We got the lightsabers, and the blades actually come out of the hilts, so they serve the double purpose, and they have a peg that will allow them to go onto said figure's belts. That's solid. I don't hate that idea, and it's less plastic that I have to pay for and less plastic that I have to store, because the more of these lightsabers you start picking up, the more Jedis and whatnot that you get from the collection. Before a while, like all of a sudden you have like a ton of these, and they're just kind of like taking up space in like your like extra inventories. But that's not going to be a problem here, and that's good. So this is cool. He came with a bunch of soft goods. He is... Why are we doing... So this, look, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to... Wait a second. That's not a double. Nope. Okay, I thought for a second that was a double. Nope, it's not a double. Single joint again. That's all the movement that we're going to get on a Darth Maul arm. On a Darth Maul arm, somebody that's known for taking really cool poses and whatnot, that's all we're going to get. That's bothersome. I don't know why this toy line is like strangely behind the other lines that exist within the same frickin' company. This is pretty hard plastic. It's malleable, but it's pretty hard. It will move. It will get out of our way, but we really have to make it do that. Oh my gosh. I was under the impression that this guy would be updated. He's updated in terms of they gave us this really nice cloak. Those are single jointed knees. Like, you're Darth Maul. So, let me get this straight. These are pretty much 100% re-releases. decent enough lower torso movement. These are pretty much 100% re-releases of the original wave of figures that came out all those years ago, with better head sculpts. That is it. We're looking at single jointed knees, single jointed elbows, the old wrists. Like, oh yeah, just be glad he has legs, I guess. That shocks me. I will say this, the faces, though, are unbelievable. Like, it's really good. Like, it's really good. I look at this, and I say to myself, that's him. That's him. Like, that is 100% movie accurate, to the point where if you had the lighting just right and you set it up properly, you could almost fool somebody into believing that you took him. I mean, it is really good. I'm not joking how good these faces are. They're good. They're good. And because we have the cloth goods, like we actually have the full actual putting the hood up and everything like that, that's really cool. That's really good. Okay? That's good. That's solid. That's kind of amazing. All this extra robe and everything like that really gives him just an absolute cool look. I'm not mad. See, in my case, I don't have this, and I've never been able to get one. So in my case, adding this to my shelf is still really good. It's the figure I never had a chance to buy. And I actually think you can get this guy by himself already. I don't think he comes with the cloth goods, but I think you can get this figure right now. I think he's re-released. I think you can get him right now. I feel like I've seen him at Target. But like, single knees? I'm sorry, that just blows my mind. You didn't update it at all? To anybody that already has this on your shelf, you would be buying a head sculpt. A good one. It's good. But that's all that you would be doing, is buying a really good head sculpt. Are the others the same way? So we have cloth goods. And by the way, this is actually really good. And the reason I say this is really good is because I have a couple of these now. Like I have Kit Fisto and whatnot. And his robes are not as good as this. Like I can tell that this is sized much better. Holy crap. That Ian is so good. That's the one thing about doing these on this camera, that I can't really show it off the way I would want to. As I do these live, it's kind of hard. You can't get like the face details and whatnot in there. So I still have to do, there's still a lot of these that I'm going to be doing back on the table there. But like, otherwise, the coloring and everything is really solid. Single knee, single joint knee, single. Okay? I'm sorry, this single with the little knee flap thing that comes down to try to hide the joint. Double. Kick his own butt knee. What? Let me see your arms. Single joint arms? Single joint arms. Okay. So then, you, aside from a head sculpt, you're like the oldest articulated figure in the pack. Because you have old knees, old arms, old wrists. You just got a fancy cloak and a new head. I mean, like I said, I don't own these yet. So for me, this is a home run almost no matter what, unless next week all of a sudden they release a Darth Maul that has all the new double articulation and everything is perfect. Then we have a different kind of argument altogether and a new kind of irritation. But as we stand right here, like this guy, single joint right here, but double jointed knees, which is fantastic. The paint job is really solid. The cloth goods are fantastic, and the face sculpt is unbelievable. In terms of Black Series Star Wars, because Black Series, we have to give a little bit of leeway because everybody has bad arms in Star Wars. This guy's very solid. He's basically up to joint. I mean, guess that makes sense. He's up to date in terms of where Black Series is, and he has the absolutely fantastic new face sculpt, and so this guy is great because even the newest Star Wars stuff that I've got from the Black Series, they all have the single jointed arms and whatnot. So that's whatever. But he also the same thing. Qui-Gon, double jointed knee, absolutely perfect. He'll be able to do all kinds of movement and everything. I imagine, I don't even have to ask really, but I'm going to try to pull this up. His cloak feels different. Do you have the old cloak? No, his cloak feels different. Like maybe it's because his arms are somehow different. I don't know how. Maybe it's this part is different, the way the sleeve works or something like that. But regardless, single joint elbow, which is kind of what I expected. His cloak does feel different. I don't know. It feels different. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to explain it. I can't explain it. It doesn't feel the same. Oh, by the way, I'm going to give one thing to these guys. Sword hands. Sword hand? Sword hand. Not blaster finger. I get so tired of the Jedis being released with blaster finger. My Kit Fisto has a blaster finger. He doesn't have a blaster. He has a lightsaber. Stop doing that. And by the way, 2 sword hands. Do you have a blaster finger? No. Okay. No, just... No. No, it's just so he can hold the sword differently. 2 sword hands, as far as I could tell. Sword hands. Yeah. Well, wait. Do you have a blaster finger? No. Okay. Sword hands. Because that's a blaster finger right there. So that's fine. That's perfect. Okay. Okay. Look, I'm going to give him that at the very least because that's really solid. That is an excellent, excellent Qui-Gon. That's him right there, man. That is fantastic. Is your head going to be a problem? The hair has... Ooh, there's very little give here. There's his turned head. Now he's going to look at something over there. Hopefully nothing comes from above you, because you ain't looking up. And you can kind of look down. Your hair is a problem, sir. It's about time they learned something from Jada and fixed the hair. Like, what are we doing with the hair? But... all problems aside, and it does come down to articulation, which is just an overall thing for Black Series. It's just a Black Series problem. These are still solid for me. I don't have either of these 3. I didn't have them in the original releases. I didn't have them in later releases. I didn't have them in any kind of special release. I bought them just now, right like this. So I guess for being what it is, for buying it right now, if you already have these, this is probably a big no for you. If you don't have these, this is the best version of them that you will get. But that being said, these are not going to blow your mind. Like, they're not fully updated with, like, perfect arms and, like, the double joints and, like, new butterfly, like butterfly joints for the elbows and no bicep movement or anything like that. You're not going to get anything like that out of these guys, okay? But for Black Series, for putting it on your shelf, and that's all I wanted to do was add Qui-Gon to my shelf. I just want him to stand next to Luke and everybody, okay? That's all I wanted. These are fine for me. So, added to the shelf, I have no real problems with them, aside from, I guess, what you watched me have problems with in real time, which I guess you could argue could be serious problems. I can say that's fine. I am a collector. So if I'm being perfectly objective and realistic here, if you have any of these guys, or if the only thing you want is, say you're buying it for the Darth Maul, buy the single card Darth Maul. The only reason to get this is you never had a Qui-Gon, or you never had a young Obi-Wan, and now they cost too much for you to just go get. That's it. There's no other reason to put these on your shelf. They are added to my shelf. They will do exactly what I need them to do. They're probably not a good idea for somebody else who is not in the position that I am in, where I never got them, so they'll be fine for me. Yeah. Added to the shelf. That's pretty much what I have to say about these ones. Happy with them, but they do have problems, and you really should be aware of them before you, like, rush out and try to get your own 3-pack.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.